Ben Kvalo, founder, CEO of Midwest Games, president of the Wisconsin Games Alliance, and executive chair for MDEV, which is now the largest game industry event in the U.S. outside of California.
So basically, just kind of touch on that. Like, obviously, as you were creating MDEV and putting all these things together and seeing the growth of it now, how close knit, but yet still how big it is at the same time. It's just that Midwest community thing. What has been the biggest growth to you? Like, just sort of seeing it, from its inception, now to, 1,500 or however many people it was experiencing all of that growth.
But it used to be an event that was about 300 or 400 people, pretty small, very intimate, a lot of people that kind of knew each other. Over the last 3 years, it went to 700 and 1,100 and then almost 1,500 this time. What's amazing about it is it's continued to maintain its intimate feel. I go to a lot of events around the world, and there is nothing like MDEV. And now people will be like, Ben, you have a bias. I do have a bias. Absolutely. I completely agree. But there is something different. And that's what I hear from everybody that goes there is that they feel like it is intimate. I saw somebody write on LinkedIn that they found their tribe, their people there. And so it has that intimate feel that something like GDC just doesn't have. And it's a different level show for something like that. But at the same point, we are serving in the same kinds of ways. We are creating connections. We are providing learning opportunities. We are bringing a whole region together, a whole half of the United States. Because so much of it is just in California. And a little bit of Washington, and then a little bit of Texas. But everybody else is kind of left out of the loop. And either are forced to go to California, where something in San Francisco, whether it's GST or other events, $800 a night for a hotel is ridiculous. There are some people that went to MDEV and didn't spend $800 for the entire event to get hotel, travel, food, and that is a big differentiator for us. What we can provide long term, I think we are more accessible, more affordable show. And yeah, we're not going to have the bells and whistles that a GDC has, but that's okay. I mean, that's not what folks are looking for. What folks are looking for is the connection. I think you felt that in the show.
Yeah, I think it's more important for shows like that, especially like sort of that pocket, that community. Like you said, I don't think it has to be sort of a GDC setup.
We had people from Europe.
We had some far ones.
From Hawaii.
Yeah, I know we met a few of them just driving from where we were, just from our side of the world. It was very much like that whole tribe and close-knit community. I compared it to being from Nashville. Not so much anymore, but it used to be how Nashville used to be before the popularity, the fame, because Nashville used to be sort of big city, but small town vibe. Like everything was within 15 to 20 minutes, people, everybody's nice, that sort of thing. And I felt that when I came to Wisconsin, everybody was minding their business, but very nice. If you need something, everybody was very helpful, especially at the conference. I guess more surprised, maybe not surprised, but the amount of students that were there, just simply because this wasn't a thing that a lot of students would have been able to sort of experience, given that this wasn't really in the curriculums and stuff like that. You want to make games, come make games at this school.
I think they see it. Schools have struggled holistically. Universities have struggled to keep up with where technology is in non-structured places. And, even in games, folks are learning how to develop games when they're in elementary school by themselves. And there's tools and learnings in so many places. And so schools are adapting and they see the opportunities in the game space. Game skills are transferable into so many other industries. Even if you don't get a games degree, having some classes, programs, certificates, things like that really helps to kind of bridge the gap and helps other industry folks that are really good at problem solving, really good at working cross-departmental, because so much of that is vital to what games is. And then we've done a lot of effort in engaging universities in the region to come. The ticket for MDEV is fairly low cost. I'm not gonna say like it's low cost in general, but for a games industry event, if you compare it against any other games industry event, it's so dramatically cheaper. The cheapest ticket at GDC is like almost $700.
Yeah.
Some of them go into the thousands, like $3,000. And that's a lot. That's the case for a lot of games industry events. Dice is like $3,000 and others. Ours is at full price, $250. You know, a early bird is $150. So if you get it early, it's really reasonable. And then we also now get the option of 1 day tickets. You can get early bird 1 day for $100. So really trying to match the budget. And then when we include universities, we give students $50 tickets to the show because we really want to encourage them to be able to experience, see, network, and showcase some of their titles, which were some of the best titles. It shows that incredible development is coming from younger folks more and more. We get match that with experienced developers that have learned lessons that take time. It creates a positive result where you're able to give young innovation and the benefits of being naive and match it with folks that could use that in their own stuff, and then also give back some of that experience, knowledge, awareness of the market. And so I want to always create a space that accommodates for both of those things, because I think it's when you marry those together and bring people from across the spectrum that you get the best results. And we know that in all the data, when you have folks that come from different backgrounds, different mindsets, different approaches, when you have a diverse amount of developers in so many different ways, it creates better results. It creates better games. It creates better experiences that are more understanding of everyone else's experience, or creates a whole new experience that resonates a lot with them because they feel seen.
Yeah, it is so many ideas just pop out because the amount of games that I saw where somebody might be trying to resurrect. I was talking to Patrick about this, like games about people resurrecting like the Super Nintendo, or old school tech that you might not even be thinking about, or just tech in general that you might not even be thinking about, putting their own spin on it and making something cool. And I didn't really see any games that I was just like, ooh, I wouldn't play that. It was so many cool ideas. And then to tie that off to also adding the second day this year, what was that experience like to you? To me, it gave me a better chance to actually experience the games on that second day, just because like the first day, everybody I think was kind of getting their feet wet. Here's where this is, here's where that is. Let me take in some of these classes and some of this knowledge that a lot of people are spitting, which I do think MDEV did a great job of having these panels and people being able to sit in and actually get knowledge from people who are doing this stuff, and actually being able to take that and apply that. Because a lot of the people that I talked to of games that I play, they were like, oh, I'm going to go fix this tonight. And I'm like, well, I'm not sure how you're going to do that, but that's kind of cool that you can take knowledge like that and apply it to whatever you're doing. How was that second day and that extra kick to the whole conference and stuff?
Yeah, to pull back the curtain a little bit, we have a pretty small group of people that plan out this entire event. We get a lot of incredible community support, be it volunteers and others, but it's really about anywhere between 3 to 5 of us really like creating this thing. The discussion and debate around having the second day and some other things, it was a risk for us to lean into it because it was not proven yet. We didn't know what the results would be, but we felt strong enough that there was a lot of positive being able to, for the first time, have the event on a weekend day. We thought was more inclusive for folks that were working or in school or other, circumstances that allowed them to be able to come to the event and enjoy it. We had to really remap how we schedule things. A 2-day event is so much different than a 1-day event. And then the other big risk item that we added this year was the kickoff event at the Orpheum in downtown Madison, which, for anyone listening, is an old theater venue that's been kind of refurbished and just an incredible venue to host. And it's highly recommend going there if you ever get a chance. and we did the kickoff event there. So we opened the show, at the Orpheum. We decided to, for the first time, we decided this about a month before the event. Like all this was happening in real time. We got this opportunity and we leaned in. There was a large financial risk associated with it. We were hoping that the show would offset it based on our numbers. It looks like we did. We're a nonprofit organization, so we're not trying to make a big profit, but we are trying to make a margin because we can reinvest that dollar into it. This is a completely volunteer organization as well. None of us get paid to do this. We do it because we believe in what it can do, the power of what it can do. And, it can benefit each of the organizations involved within the region. And we believe that helps us all. So we took the bet and planned this trailer moment to showcase a lot of the trailers in the region. We did all of that last minute. We then put together a panel. I put that together a week before the event. Luckily, it all worked out. We had an awesome sponsor, Hethora, the different executives at each of these different studios. And it really worked. People came dressed up, people came dressed in cosplay, people came in whatever they felt comfortable in. It felt like such a great community.
The Orpheum was really cool. The trailer and the panel, you could tell the excitement was already there. Like everybody was like, okay, I'm kind of ready to see the games and stuff now. And then for, like you said, the people who haven't been able to go to MDEV or haven't, like the amount of people you would have just walking to the cafeteria, to the concession or whatever, you would have been looking to your right and somebody would have been sitting, oh, that's the CEO of such and another CEO of such and such. And then you look to your left and like, oh, that's the designer for such. It was so many people there. If you were a developer, you would have wanted to be in that room for sure. Everybody was friendly. I was just talking to everybody. If you haven't been able to go to MDEV, definitely get you a ticket and get yourself to Wisconsin. We definitely had a good time for sure. On top of that, you were also pushing the game Tomb Water as well. So talk a little bit about that and how has that development been as you continue in the process?
Yeah, Tomb Water is this spectacular game from a studio called Moth Atlas, which is a two-person studio in Columbus, Ohio. The game is a 2D Souls-like Western, gives kind of the old school Zelda, to the past type of feel. And just an incredible accomplishment of what the studio is able to do. Max is kind of the lead for it, Max Moraz, and he's done some spectacular work in the past as well. But this game, I want to think of it as his kind of masterpiece. And it is a very difficult game. It takes the Souls-like formula into a 2D format, which is I don't know of any games that are really doing exactly what he's been doing. And it's just a really well-built game. It's getting a lot of traction, a lot of interest. We've had some spectacular headlines and articles that have talked about this being potentially the game of 2026 or the hit of 2026 potentially. We have a long way to go still to get to that. It'll come out next year. But we were able to showcase it in a big way and got some incredible feedback and interest from folks around it. And hopefully that helps build some more momentum. Go play the demo on Steam right now. It is a difficult but rewarding game with a lot of depth, a lot of Easter eggs and little things that you'll notice throughout. It just added some incredible things to it.
As a studio in general, how are you cultivating and thinking about these ideas now that you got the conference working? A lot of these sort of studios are a lot more cohesiveness, I guess, as far as like in the Midwest. How is the studio in general coming about, like sort of the chemistry as the industry is changing? How is that working out for you?
Yeah, our company and kind of the Midwest Games in the midst of all this, new opportunities to provide publishing in new ways, creating a collaborative environment with other studios, creates opportunities for us as a company and kind of just goes into my larger thesis and belief. We need to create larger collaborative and strategic partnerships that allow us to spread risk across more things, which will allow, if you're taking less risk per project, you're going to take more risk in the bets that you take. And so I think if we can shift the risk profile and spread it across more groups, more collaborations, it's no longer the case where a single box is going to control every piece of the pipeline, which is the traditional model in publishing for games. It is now moving to, you're going to have 10 different groups working on a single game. And they're each going to be taking a little bit of risk, and they're each going to have a little bit of reward and upside. But added together, they can help create success in more consistent ways. I think we're able to do this in an environment where it's lower cost. And so we can take more risks, more swings, be able to do things a little bit differently. And we're seeing it in real time. Now, will we be the group that fully does it? Who knows? Like, there's so many other factors that come into it. We can do everything perfect and get unlucky or have something go against us as the market change. Really excited about the environments.
You trying to talk to some of the legislators about the tax credit, the tax incentive for developing games there. Talk a little bit about how that fight is going and what that would do for the region and people looking to build games in the Midwest.
Yeah, so for everyone's biz, we have a bill. It's called AB 204. You can look it up with the Wisconsin Assembly bill. It is a bill to put forward a tax incentive for video game development. We've become the first state in the country to have a specific video game tax incentive. Other bills that involve like more interactive media or films tax credits that have an interactive media. This one is very explicit in what it covers and what it does because of how it's designed and the benefits of it. It is a real opportunity. Global tax incentives that exist outside the U.S., both in Canada, Ireland, Spain, and many other places in Europe, some in other places around the world, and it makes it us competitive. The U.S. is tied for the largest market with China. It's 1A, 1B, and that means people still want to be located here, but they're really struggling to do it efficiently. Further incentive stacked on top of the fact that already people are considering Wisconsin, it becomes potentially a mega attraction point. And so that's the benefit. It's a 30% uncapped tax incentive. And uncapped is really important when you look at bonus structures in game studios. A lot of them have different bonus structures.
It especially hurts the executive piece of things, and it doesn't make the executive really want to move to a region that has a cap, because essentially at some point you hit a ceiling.
Right. Yeah.
You're going to get off of that incentive. And so the fact that it's uncapped at 30% is hugely beneficial. And I believe that 10 plus mega studios will to Wisconsin
if this incentive goes forward. We're working with the governor's office, with lobbyists, with folks at ESA is involved, and trying to push this forward, and we're nearly there. We're hoping to get a vote next month.
That would bring studios, jobs to the Midwest.
In Texas, where every dollar spent on these kinds of incentives, the state gets $8. It is an incredibly beneficial system for the state. You're giving back 30% to the industry.
Recycling it.
You're making money that you wouldn't have made anyways. The only argument against is if the industry was coming here anyways,
why give them incentive?
They're not that big push. And it's such a dramatic difference between that and the fact that if you're the first to do it, you beat out the others, because whoever is first with an incentive like this will get the majority of folks. They have one chance to really move or build operations somewhere. Now, others will copycat, and I think there will be declining benefits over time, because when you're the 30th state that adopts it,
right? Yeah.
Versus the first, second, third, you're going to have very different results off of it. The longer you wait on something, the more you won't see that. I think it's really important in a state like Wisconsin and many states in the Midwest, but I think especially Wisconsin, where we need new industry. Healthcare rooms in Wisconsin. It's a huge industry. It makes a lot of money. We have some of the largest companies in the world, like Epic Healthcare Systems. But we need more than healthcare, agriculture, manufacturing. Manufacturing is struggling in the U.S. Our agriculture is also struggling. We need new industries, and we have the talent and the history from it. I mean, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, born in Wisconsin. Yeah. And as I was riding through Wisconsin, you pass a bunch of these board game places. You don't really see a lot of those places around my way set up like that. And just having the history, like you said, of Dungeons and Dragons and all of that stuff. People obviously want to play games and stuff there. It's just, like you said, if you can get those people to come, you already have some there. You got, like you say, your Ravens, Midwest, who, you know, you guys are building and all of that stuff. So, and I mean, MDEV, I think, is that perfect joint point for all of those, simply because, like I said, all those people you saw in there, everybody wants to say, hey, let's work on a project together and really grow this thing. Last thought is yours, my man. Anything people want to know, push anything like that.
Yeah, you can always follow my thoughts and ramblings on LinkedIn. I do a lot of posting around that, my thoughts on the history and what is happening. There's a lot happening right now. And then ultimately, just a big shout out for Tomb Water. Go support it. Go check out the demo. Go wishlist. It is a special game from a regional developer. I want to make sure it gets the spotlight like they deserve because they built something spectacular. And I hope that people can see that, notice that, and hopefully attach on to it in a big way.
Yeah, no doubt.